Hello everyone, today Hathanhvn continues to tell 5 stories about life. Please listen.
Story 196. Time with you on an autumn afternoon in Florence. As the setting sun cast a golden glow over the cobblestone streets, Maria stood on the balcony of her apartment, sipping a cup of coffee. She was a famous interior designer, but her life was full of constant hustle and bustle. Work, projects, clients, everything kept pulling her along, making her feel like she was gradually losing the small moments, the peaceful moments that she used to love. Maria had spent almost a year building her career, making a name for herself in the design industry. But looking back, she realized that she had lost so many precious things: simple moments, cozy evenings with family and friends, walks with her lover under the city lights. She had promised herself that she would find a way to balance work and life, but until today, Maria had not done it. Just one unexpected call that afternoon changed everything. At that moment, Maria's phone rang. It was from Andrea, her lover. "Maria, I know you're busy, but we need to talk." Andrea's voice was a bit urgent, but also full of tenderness. "I don't want to bother you, but we haven't spent time together for a long time. I feel like you're drifting apart. Everything in your life seems to revolve around work. Do you remember when we said we would spend time together every weekend?" Maria sat down, thought for a moment, then replied, "You're right, Andrea. But work is piling up. I can't neglect it. You understand, right?" Andrea was silent for a moment, then said softly, "Do you think you can go through this life with just work? I don't want us to be just people coming and going in a busy schedule. You deserve peaceful moments, weekends just for you and the people you love." These words woke Maria up. She realized that she had let work take up too much time and space in her life. She had stopped taking care of herself, stopped spending time with her loved ones. Maria decided to change. She cancelled all unnecessary meetings for the following week and spent time with Andrea. They went to a small village outside the city, where there were fields of bright yellow flowers. They walked side by side, not in a hurry, not worried about work. They sat under a large tree, chatting and laughing like old times. Maria felt like she was reborn, like she had found herself again after so much time lost. When she returned to the city, Maria applied a new principle to her life. She would prioritize what was most important, not just work, but also relationships and time for herself. She scheduled her work more tightly, so that she could spend time on the things that were really important, and she began to learn how to say no to unnecessary appointments. A year later, Maria feels that her life has changed a lot. She still loves her job, but now she knows how to keep a balance. The moments with her family, friends and Andrea are more precious than ever. She feels like she is living a more complete life, not just as a worker, but as someone who loves, cares for and values her own time. Lesson: valuing your time is the most important thing in finding balance in life. When we know how to prioritize and be organized, we can not only achieve success but also enjoy the small moments and simple joys. Time is our most precious asset, and learning how to use it effectively helps us live a more complete and happy life.
Story 197. An investment in the future. At the end of the year, Paris is more beautiful than ever. The ancient streets, sparkling under the Christmas lights, are bustling with the laughter of shoppers, preparing for the upcoming festive parties. On a quiet street corner, Emma, a young girl, sits in a small cafe, looking out the window. She is a new writer, with big dreams but full of fears. In her heart, there are a lot of fears that she has never dared to face. All year long, Emma has written a lot, but she has not dared to send any of her work. Every time she thinks about putting what she writes out into the world, a feeling of fear fills her, as if someone is standing behind her and saying, "No one will like what you write. You will fail." Those thoughts always make her hesitate and miss opportunities. Especially at the end of the year, when everyone is planning for the future, Emma feels like she is on the outside. She feels like she is not strong enough, not confident enough to step out into the world. She looks at the people around her, who are successful, who have fulfilled their dreams. Every time she sees someone doing big projects, she just asks herself, do I have enough courage? But then, one morning, when Emma was rushing out of the coffee shop, she suddenly bumped into a man. It was Maxime, a famous author that Emma has admired for a long time. He smiled and apologized, and then the two sat down to have a cup of coffee together. Maxime started talking to Emma about writing, about his successes and failures in his career. He said that when he first started, he also had to face a lot of fears. Every time I finished a book, I felt worried about whether people would like it. But I learned one thing: fear is part of the process. The important thing is not to avoid it, but to go through it. Emma listened, and gradually felt a change in her heart. Maxime was not only a famous author, but also someone who could understand the fear she was facing. He continued, everyone has their own fear, but if you avoid it, you will never be able to move forward. Fear is just a feeling, a challenge that you need to overcome. Don't let it decide your journey. These words were like a ray of light shining into the darkness in Emma's heart. She began to realize that fear is not something to be avoided. In fact, if she faced and overcame that fear, she would be able to become more confident, stronger, and closer to her dream. On New Year's Eve, as fireworks bloomed in the sky of Paris, Emma sat in her cozy room. She picked up her pen, looked at the words she had written, and for the first time in a year, she felt confident. She was no longer afraid. She sent her work to a famous publisher, telling herself that she would no longer let fear dictate her future. The results did not come immediately, but Emma knew that the first step had been taken. She had faced her fear and not let it get in the way. And that was the most important thing. Lesson: facing fear is an indispensable part of the journey to maturity. Don't avoid feelings of anxiety or fear, because it is a sign that you are facing a great opportunity. Learning to overcome them will not only make you more confident, but also open new doors, helping you go further in life and work. Courage is not the absence of fear, but knowing how to step through it to move forward.
Story 198. Under the blue sky. Eliza lives in Sydney, a bustling city with beautiful beaches and a never-ending pace of life. She is an active girl, always participating in every event, meeting friends, and especially her work in the media industry is always full of meetings and urgent projects. However, in recent months, Eliza has begun to feel tired. The superficial conversations, the urgent deadlines make her feel like an emotionless robot. She feels like she has lost connection with herself. One weekend afternoon, Eliza decided to escape the city. She drove to a peaceful land outside the suburbs, where the fields are vast and the air is fresh, where there is no phone signal to bother her. She found a small wooden house by a lake, where every morning she wakes up, there is only the sound of birds chirping and the wind blowing gently through the treetops. On her first day here, Eliza felt bewildered. She was used to having people around her all the time, always interacting, and never having a moment of rest. But gradually, she began to love this silence. Every morning, Eliza sat by the lake, listening to the gentle sound of the water, sipping hot coffee and reading books that she had long forgotten. She spent time thinking about work, about relationships, and especially about herself. One afternoon, while walking in the nearby woods, Eliza met a man. His name was Tom, a photographer who decided to leave the city to live close to nature and find peace. They talked to each other, telling each other the reasons why each of them sought this quiet. Tom smiled and shared, "Sometimes, we are too busy to realize that we have forgotten ourselves. We need quiet moments to reconnect with ourselves." Eliza was surprised to hear that sentence. She had always been in the middle of a work and social life, never giving herself time to listen to her true thoughts and feelings. Tom continued, when you are alone, you will realize a lot about yourself. You will understand what you really want, things you never thought about before. After that conversation, Eliza felt like a new door opened in her soul. She no longer felt lonely when she was alone. On the contrary, she began to feel a deep peace. She no longer felt the need to please everyone around her or meet society's expectations. Eliza realized that only when she took time for herself could she truly grow and understand herself better. When she returned to Sydney, Eliza changed. Not only did she become more productive at work, but she also learned to take care of herself. She no longer felt the pressure to participate in everything and knew how to create time for herself to relax and reflect. Lesson: spending time alone is not loneliness, but an opportunity for self-discovery and reconnection. In silence, we can reflect on our lives, discover what is important, and learn to care for ourselves. Sometimes, it is in those quiet moments that we can find peace and motivation to grow.
Story 199. Desert-like Lena grew up in Dubai, a city known for its skyscrapers, luxury shopping malls, and lavish parties. She was raised in a prestigious family where everything had to be perfect. Her parents wanted Lena to pursue a career in business, to become a successful and influential leader in society. Therefore, Lena always felt pressured to live up to the high expectations that her family and society placed on her. Lena studied hard, graduated from a prestigious university, and started working at a large financial company in Dubai. Everyone admired her for her achievements. But one evening, as Lena stood in the middle of a luxurious party, with the sparkling lights reflecting in her wine glass, she suddenly felt empty. She smiled at everyone, but in her heart, a big question arose: is this the life I really want? Lena's life seemed to be written: stable job, endless meetings, parties, long business trips. But the more she traveled, the more disoriented Lena felt. She had no time to ask herself what she really wanted. Every decision in her life was created by the expectations of her parents, friends, and society. One day, while walking on Jumeirah Beach, Lena met a man named Amir. He was a freelance photographer, living a simple, free life that was completely different from hers. Amir spent his time traveling, capturing beautiful moments of the world, and living each day as an adventure. They started chatting and Lena shared about her life. Amir listened attentively, then smiled and said, "You know, sometimes we live so long for the expectations of others that we forget that this life is our own. You can live for yourself, not to please someone else." Lena looked into Amir's eyes, and those words were like a ray of light shining into her soul. She realized that she had spent her whole life pursuing things that she thought would make others proud, but did not feel truly happy. In the following days, Lena spent time reflecting on what Amir had said. She decided to try something new. Lena quit her job in a financial company, not because she did not love it, but because she realized that she had lost herself in it. She decided to start her own project on art and travel, a job that she was truly passionate about. She also started going on small trips, exploring the places she had always dreamed of. Day by day, Lena finds joy in simple things. She learns to love herself and is no longer afraid of other people's expectations. She gradually builds a life that she truly wants. Not to prove anything to anyone, but to live for herself. Lesson: don't live for other people's expectations. Your life is yours, and only when you live for yourself can you find true joy. Be free to explore your passions and make choices that you believe are right, because only then can you truly live a meaningful and happy life.
Story 200. Christmas lights in Lapland, Helsinki is in the middle of a cold winter, but for Anna, it's a special time. Christmas is approaching this year, and although the city is bustling, she feels empty, as if something important is missing in her life. Anna is an interior designer. Her job requires constant creativity. However, over the past few months, she has been experiencing a creative crisis. Ideas no longer flow as naturally as before. She feels stuck in her work and repetitive thoughts. Her creative outlet seems to have dried up. One day, Anna decides to take a short trip to Lapland, where the Christmas atmosphere always seems to be filled with white snow. She finds a small village, where traditional wooden houses and snowy hills create a peaceful, quiet space. There, Anna met Eric, a local carpenter, who was famous for his unique wood and stone crafts. He was not only an artisan, but also a lover of creativity. Eric lived a simple life, but his eyes always lit up when he talked about his work. About his passion for creating works from nature. One snowy afternoon, when Anna was walking in the village, she saw Eric cutting branches and shaping wood into the shape of a reindeer. She approached and chatted with him. Anna asked, "Do you ever feel like you have lost your creative inspiration?" Eric smiled, his eyes shining with understanding. Losing creative inspiration is something everyone experiences. But I learned that, instead of waiting for inspiration to come, I have to go find it. I find inspiration in nature, in the simple things around me. You too, let yourself be free to explore and develop new ideas. Eric invited Anna to join him in a traditional crafting session. Under his skillful hands, ordinary pieces of wood were transformed into beautiful Christmas gifts, from stars, wreaths to small boxes. In the warm space of the wooden house, amidst the smell of new wood and the gentle sound of Christmas music, Anna felt the tranquility and creativity gradually returning to her. When she returned to Helsinki, Anna felt she had found joy in her work again. She began to redesign living spaces, not only according to the requirements of her clients, but also adding creative details and inspiration that she had learned from her trip. The houses she designed are now not only places to live, but also spaces that bring inspiration, joy and warmth, like the small house in Lapland. Lesson: nurturing creativity is a never-ending journey. Sometimes, to develop your creativity, you need to step out of your comfort zone and explore the world around you. It's the simple things and peaceful moments that can be a great source of inspiration for you to find joy and develop new skills.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye and see you in the next short stories about life.